Hello, welcome to Lesson 6. We are going to start class today with grading your quiz that you had in Lesson 5. I want you to you can have your pencil ready, but also a colored pen that you can mark when you get an answer wrong. I would like you to correct it. That way you can go back and look at it and make sure, or just see what you did wrong and then know better for next time. Let's get started. In this quiz, you were able to use 3 sentence patterns: noun, verb, noun, verb, noun 2, and noun, verb, noun 3, noun 2 sentence pattern. So let's get started with grading. I apologize that my writing is never good when I have to use my mouse, so hopefully you can distinguish what I'm doing or decipher. Hopefully you can decipher what I'm doing. The very first thing you do is mark out the prepositional phrases. I noticed that when different ones have shown me their work, a lot of times I don't see those prepositional phrases marked out, and I am telling you, you have to mark through them every time. If you are struggling with the prepositional phrases, you may want to go back and watch lesson 1. You may want to review your prepositions. But if you do not learn those, and if you do not make sure that you're marking those prepositional phrases out, the sentence patterns are going to be very difficult. If you mark through the prepositional phrases, then you only have a few words to work with because none of the sentence patterns are going to be in the prepositional phrases. I cannot emphasize enough. Mark out the prepositional phrases, then it should get much easier than that. That's really the big secret. Let's look at number 1. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30, 1853. We have a prepositional phrase right here. On March 30, 1853. Now, if you have not marked any of these out, then I need you to pause this right now and go through and mark every prepositional phrase out in all the sentences. Doesn't mean every sentence is going to have one, but I want you to check every sentence to make sure. We have on March 30, 1853 out. It's gone. Now we just have 2 things. Vincent van Gogh was born. So what's the action in this sentence? Was born, because was is a helping verb there. And Vincent van Gogh is our subject. So this is a noun verb sentence pattern. I'm not going to actually write out everything because it gets very, very messy. But if you remember correctly, this is the noun verb sentence pattern, and I want you to write, or you should have written, Vincent van Gogh right here, Vincent van Gogh, and was born right here, okay? There. Number 2, he loved his younger brother Theo. Do you see any prepositional phrases? I do not. What's the action? Loved. Verb is loved. Who loved? He loved. Who did he love? Should be a comma there. He loved Theo, which was also his brother. You could have brother as the direct object. Theo is his brother. It's the name of that direct object. This would be a sentence pattern that looks like this. A diagram. You have the subject, the verb, and the noun too. Just fill them in with the correct words. He loved Theo or brother. Number 3, I do not see a prepositional phrase. I do see a verb supported, but I also see another verb, supported and encouraged. Supported, encouraged. The sentence pattern is Theo He's the subject. Supported who? Who did he support? Supported Vincent. That's your direct object. Then it says Theo encouraged him. So him can be your noun too. It's a pronoun, but it can be your noun too there. Theo encouraged him. Theo supported him. I do not see any prepositional phrases here. We have liked as the verb. Who liked? He liked. He liked what? And the reason I know what to ask there is because all I see is a noun over here. So the noun's got to be either a noun 1 or a noun 2 or a noun 3. Because we don't have a linking verb, we know it's on noun 1. And I only see one noun here because Vincent's is a possessive noun. It's just saying whose paintings. That's how I know this is going to be a noun 2, regardless of whether or not you were thinking Vincent might be a noun 3. Paintings is still noun 2 because he liked what? It's receiving the liking. Number 5, Vincent wrote Theo many letters. Again, no prepositional phrases. The action verb is wrote. Who wrote? Subject is Vincent. Vincent wrote. What noun received the writing? What got wrote? Letters. That's your noun too. Then who received those letters? Theo. Noun, verb, noun 2. I'm sorry, noun 3, noun 2. I didn't write that very good there. I'm going to stop here and go back to number 3. Just like that. You have the subject here, Theo. And then up here, I'd put supported, which actually will go right here on this top line, and then encouraged here. Put and. This is why I really don't like focusing too much on diagramming because I really want you just to not stress over this. I want you to stress, be more concerned about making sure you know what your direct objects are, verbs, and all those things. And then the direct object, I would just use Vincent. Because if it changed, if it was someone else, then you have to use a compound. But it's Vincent, which is him. So it's really the same person. That actually is not supposed to have a line there. Let me take that off there. Vincent, what I meant for that to be is like this, where it's Vincent / him. All right, again, this is why I'm not pushing too much on diagramming. I just want you to get a little familiar with it. I'm sure you can find someone really better than I am when it comes to diagramming. I enjoy doing finding the parts of speech, but I don't really care to do all the diagramming personally. It can get very confusing. I think it's fun to some degree, but don't worry that much about it at all, at least in this course. Number 4, the diagram will look like this. He liked paintings. Number 5, this is the diagram. Subject will be first, then wrote, then the noun 2, which is letters. Then underneath this verb, you will write Theo, which is the noun 3. Number 6, Theo would write Vincent many letters too. I do not see any prepositional phrase. Would write is your verb. Theo is the subject. Theo would write. What did he write? Letters again, but this time, who's the indirect object? Vincent. And you set it up the same way as you did number 5. Number 7. You have not had any prepositional phrases since number 1, but number 7 has them. In the beginning, Vincent painted with dark colors before discovering bright oil paints. Mark out in the beginning with dark colors before discovering bright oil paints. Painted is your verb. Vincent is your noun. Vincent painted. Number 8, he painted the sunflowers and starry night with beautiful yellows and blues. Get rid of that. We now have painted as the verb. He is the subject. What did he paint? We have a compound direct object, the sunflowers and starry night. There's your verb, there's your subject, your verb, and then here we've got a compound direct object. So you'll put sunflowers here and starry night here. Number 9. Vincent lived in Holland, France, and England. We can get rid of in Holland, France, and England, and we have a sentence pattern, noun, verb. Vincent lived. Again, I just don't want to be confusing you. It's just too hard to write all that out. When I put in here, I'm just letting you know you need to write Vincent. And then when I put the verb here in this place, then that's letting you know you need to write lived. Last one, he made friends with the postman Rulin and his family in Arles, France. I'm going to mark out France there and in Arles, France with the postman Rulin and his family because with is a preposition. And now we just had we have he made friends. Made, and then he made what? Friends. There is your sentence, your diagramming for your sentence. He made friends. If you need to see this a little bit longer, you can pause. Now we have finished the grading and we are ready to start. Actually, before we start, I do want to remind you about your creative writing. For creative writing, you had 3 options. Actually, I think I gave you 4 options. Option 1, make up 5 of your own quotes using the noun linking verb noun 1 sentence pattern. Put your quotes on your pictures to illustrate the quotes. That was one of them. For example, these were my examples. Travel is a living book filled with adventure. A dog is a boy's best friend. Option 2, choose a character trait, quality to write or find metaphors about. It can be a positive or a negative quality. Make a poster with a collage of the metaphors you write or find. And this is one that I did. Now, I found all these. I didn't make these up. So you are welcome to find them online and then put them in your little collage. This was about love. Love is and you have to make sure that a noun is renaming love. Option 3, you could write a 4-metaphor poem using the same subject for each verse. So this person wrote poetry is a fingerprint, and then they went on and wrote a little bit about that. Poetry is a valentine, poetry is a river, poetry is a gift. So you're explaining why you're calling the subject what it is that you're calling them. All right, that was option 3, and option 4 is the color poem. Pick a color and then write metaphors to go with that color. Red is a fire engine, red is a sunset. And these were your 4 creative writing options. You only had to do one of them. Now it is time for lesson 6. Noun, linking verb, adjective. It's very similar to last lesson, which was noun, linking verb, noun 1. The only difference is instead of it being a noun at the end, is renaming the subject, it is now an adjective describing the subject. So it's pretty easy with that. Now, we're going to do mad dash, and you're going to try to beat me. And what you have to do, or you don't have to necessarily beat me. If you have someone else that's playing this, that's taking this course with you, then you can do it with them. And so you will write down the sentence, and then you've got to very quickly, as fast as you can, label it. And then as soon as you're finished, especially if you're playing with someone, then put your pencil down. And then whoever puts their pencil down first and has the right answer, then wins. Now, if you're just taking this by yourself, you don't have another person taking it with you, then you may race against me. The first sentence, the boy ran after the car. So I want you to write it very quickly. The boy ran after the car. Okay. And as soon as you're done writing it, start doing what you need to with it. Mark out prepositional phrases, find the verb, just do the sentence pattern, and then done. And if you can do it before I can do it, then you beat me. The boy, and this one's a now subject verb. Do you understand? Does that make sense? You will write the sentence, and immediately, you don't have to wait for me to say go, immediately you need to start marking out prepositional phrases. So let's just see how fast you can do it. Sue eats red tomatoes. Done. Now, I am not going as fast as I can. I do want to give you a chance to do it on your own without seeing all my answers. I hope that you got noun Sue eats verb and tomatoes direct object noun 2. Next, Sally was her sister. Done. Sally subject was linking verb, sister predicate nominative, noun 1. Next, he was an excellent doctor. He was an excellent doctor. If you do not want to race against me, pause, and then you can do it on your own. Done. Was linking verb. He is a subject, noun, doctor, noun 1. I hope that you're able to beat me, or yeah, I really would love it if you could. And if not, again, it's okay. Just pause it. And as long as you're getting most of the answers right, then I'm very happy. Next one is she cried for her dog. She cried for her dog. Done. Noun is she, cried is verb, for her dog's a prepositional phrase. We will do 2 more. The girl gave Bob some gum. The girl gave Bob some gum. Done. Gave is the verb. Girl is the noun. Girl gave gum, noun 2. Bob is noun 3. Again, if you need to pause, it's okay. The last one is give me the recipe for yogurt. Give me the recipe for yogurt. That was a little trickier. I hope you marked out for yogurt. Give is the verb. You should have written in parentheses because you are the subject that I'm talking to. You give what recipe? Okay, that's noun 2. And then noun 3 would be me. I hope that you did well. I hope you're able to go quickly with this mad dash. It's a good thing to practice. Let's go on, get out your notebook paper or notebooks. Across the top, write N-LV-PAdj. This stands for subject, linking verb, predicate adjective. To be a predicate adjective, it must 1. Follow a linking verb. Do you remember how a predicate nominative had to follow a linking verb also? This is the same thing, predicate nominative and then predicate adjective. Both have to follow a linking verb. And in your last lesson, you have the list of linking verbs. So you can always look back over those. Number 2, it must describe the subject. If you remember, and if you look back in your notes, predicate nominative, it must rename the subject. The predicate adjective must describe the subject. Here's a sample. That apple is red and juicy. Is a linking verb. Apple is the subject. We have 2 words after that. Well, besides and. Red, juicy. Is that a noun? Are those nouns renaming the apple or are they describing the apple? They are describing the apple. The apple is red and the apple is juicy. Yummy. A linking verb links 2 parts of the sentence together. We have apple as a subject. Is that link between the predicate adjective and the subject. Predicate adjectives are red and juicy, being linked over back to apple. This is how you diagram. It looks the same as the predicate nominative, noun, linking verb, predicate nominative, or noun 1 sentence pattern. You put the subject first, then the linking verb, then the predicate adjective. If I'm going too quickly, please pause and catch up. This is how you would diagram the sample sentence. Subject is the apple. Is a linking verb. Then we put red, juicy. You can see how I did the lines there, and goes on the dotted line. Asking a question. So the noun, linking verb, adjective, this is how it works when you're asking a question. Write down this question. Is that apple red and juicy? Is our linking verb, and it's the very first word there because it's a question. Apple is your subject, so it just got reversed only because it's a question. In a question, the subject will never come first. Unless, sometimes you say a sentence with a questioning tone, like, apples are red and juicy. That's just, that it's a question, but you're not really asking a question. Your tone is making it be questioning, but when we use the linking verbs at the beginning of the sentence, then it's going to be a question. Is that apple red? Is that apple juicy? Red describes the apple, juicy describes the apple. Here are some examples I want you to write. Les became nervous before the test. Les became nervous before the test. I'm going to write down the rest of these sentences for you to write. After the game, Mike felt hot and tired. Number 3, let me read number 2 again. After the game, Mike felt hot and tired. Number 3, my sister grew more excited about the Ferris wheel. Number 3, again, my sister grew more excited about the Ferris wheel. And number 4, the hot popcorn smelled so delicious. The hot popcorn smelled so delicious. I want you to pause here and label these sentences with a noun, linking verb, adjective, sentence pattern. Look back over the sample I showed you on the notes today and make sure you mark out prepositional phrases. Pause, come back when you're finished. Let's go ahead and check to see how you did. Before the test would be a prepositional phrase. Became is a verb, the linking verb, not just any verb. Les is the subject, and nervous is a word that describes Les, so that would be the adjective. That's what makes it easy to know that became is a linking verb, because it's not a noun, and if it was a noun, then it would, and if it's renaming the subject, then you know it has to be a linking verb, right? The verb. It's always a linking verb when the noun renames the subject after the verb, or when the word describes the subject. Then you know it's a linking verb. After the game, prepositional phrase, Mike felt hot and tired. Now, sometimes you may get confused and think, well, felt maybe is an action verb. But you see the words hot and tired, those describe Mike. So that would make this felt a verb. And then we know that these are adjectives describing Mike. My sister grew more excited about the Ferris wheel. I'm going to mark through about the Ferris wheel. And then we have grew, linking verb, because she didn't actually grow tall from excitement. Sister is the subject. Sister grew excited is an adjective there, the excited sister, my excited sister. And number 4, the hot popcorn smelled so delicious. I do not see any prepositional phrases, so smelled is your linking verb, popcorn. Popcorn smelled. What word describes or renames? Describes. It has to describe here because delicious is not a noun. And then, of course, on some of these, you would write, like for number 1, Les became nervous. Down here, this would be for number 2. Mike felt hot and tired. Number 3 would be up here. Sister grew excited. Number 4 would also be the first diagram. Popcorn smelled delicious. I am going to erase now, so pause if you don't want to erase. Sometimes the same verb, now write this at the very bottom that you have not written yet. Sometimes the same verb can be action or linking. Let's look at this. Sample, he grew tired. Grew, you know that grew, he's not growing tired. This is where it's a linking verb because tired is describing he. It's describing the boy. He grew tired. So tired, grew is the linking word that links he and tired together to put them together as one. He grew tomatoes. Write down that. He grew tomatoes. Now, tomatoes can grow. He can plant them in the ground and grow them, and they get tall and big. That would be an action verb, and you have tomatoes at the end. So ask yourself, if you think grew could be a linking verb, think, well, tomatoes, does that rename he? No, it doesn't describe he. So it cannot be a linking verb if it does not rename or describe. It is a noun, and it is the thing that received the growing. He grew tomatoes. So we have noun, verb, noun too, because it's the direct object. If you have any questions, you are welcome to send me a message, and I will be happy to answer it for you. Here we have the gremlin. The gremlin is, what could you say there? What predicate adjective could you add? The gremlin is, what about creepy? The gremlin is creepy. There, finally. The gremlin is creepy. Next one, I have Superwoman is weak. You see that she's tied there? Superwoman is weak. Or, what could you say? Superwoman, subject is linking verb strong. Superwoman is strong. I want you to write the next one down if you have not. Now I have a period after is. That's only because I haven't finished writing in the word after is. I want you to watch this video and tell me about the driver, and then as in an adjective, and an adjective to describe the boat and car. Oh, oh, that's awful. One more time. The driver is, what word could we say there? The driver is, I'm going to say careless. The driver is wild. Driver is awful. The boat and car are, what about if we said too fast? Too fast. Here we will see a snowboarder. The snowboarder is our subject. And then of course we need a linking verb because we have one snowboarder. We would say is here. Wow. See that one again. What do you want to say about the snowboarder? The snowboarder is cool. Or we could say the snowboarder is awesome. These are adjectives describing the snowboarder, and they come after, they follow the linking verb. The linking verb here connects snowboarder to cool and snowboarder to awesome. I want you to come up with a noun linking verb adjective for this sentence. Now, there's a lot of different ones. I'm going to go ahead and say one for the lighthouse, although you may want to say one for something else here in the picture. The lighthouse looks clean. The lighthouse looks clean. Now remember, looks can be an action verb. It can also be a linking verb. Lighthouse looks, and because clean is a word that describes the lighthouse, we know that looks is a linking verb here. The lighthouse looks clean. You may want to say something about the water or the rocks, but you need to have a linking verb and then the adjective to describe whatever the subject is. The rock is big. I don't really like using the word big, but the lower rocks are wet from the waves. Wet would describe it. The cupola, is that, I think that's what the little thing at the top of the lighthouse is. The cupola is red. Looks like the light on the lighthouse might be green. The lighthouse light is green. The lighthouse is white. The lighthouse is not too tall. The lighthouse is medium sized. Lots of different options there. We are going to play Pictionary grammar. If you have someone who is willing to play with you, you will want them to close their eyes before I flash the word up. And when I'm done flashing the word up, it will disappear and they can open their eyes and you draw a picture. They're going to be adjectives. So you'll have to draw a picture of something that is being described as the word that you see. Then hopefully you'll draw a good picture and they can guess what it is. Now, this could be your sibling or a friend or one of your parents, someone who is able to hopefully figure out your drawing. And then I want you to write a sentence using the noun linking verb adjective sentence pattern. If someone is with you and is going to play, then have them close their eyes now because I am going to flash the word. I will not say what the word is so that they will not, because I don't want them to hear it. Right, ready? First word. Pause. That way you can draw the picture and play the game. Again, if you have no one to play with you, or if you do have someone to play with you, you are drawing a picture of the sentence that you want to write about that. So maybe in your mind, you would like to come up with the sentence first. The word that you just saw, maybe you can think of something in the sentence as a sentence. It has to be noun, linking verb with that word at the end of the sentence. Make sure the word is at the end of the sentence because that's the adjective. Now you can have a prepositional phrase after it, that's okay. But you got to make sure that word is going back, is being linked back to the subject. Pause now and draw and write your sentence. Draw a picture. If someone's playing with you, have them guess what it is and write the sentence. Label these sentences. Send it to me in the classroom and show me. Next word is coming up. Next word. Next word. Not sure how many words. That was it. For your creative writing today, you will write a haiku. You will include 2 noun linking verb adjective sentence patterns in your haiku. These are the rules for writing a haiku. A haiku is a 3-line poem. The first line has 5 syllables. The second line has 7 syllables. The third line has 5 syllables, like this. 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5. You can think 5, 7, 5. Not 5 words, 5 syllables. Elephant, elephant, 3 syllables. 1 word, but 3 syllables. You can have 5 single syllable words. The cat ate a rat. That would be single syllables. However, please remember that I want you to include a noun linking verb adjective. Whatever your subject is, needs to have a linking verb after it, and then a description, a describing word, an adjective that describes that subject. Let's look at this. This is my haiku. My title is called Fire. The flames are red hot. The flames are red hot. That's 5 syllables, 5 words. They're each single syllables. Flames is my subject. Are is the linking verb. And what is the adjective? Hot. Now, red describes the hot, but it's hot. Firemen fight the fiery blaze. Firemen fight the fiery blaze. That's 7. Now let's see what sentence pattern this is. Fight would not be a linking verb. Fireman, subject. Fight is the verb. What do they fight? Blaze. So this is actually a noun, verb, noun, too, and that's okay. You only had to have 2 noun linking verb adjective sentence patterns. The last line, they are courageous. They are courageous. They are courageous. Sentence pattern is what's the linking verb are, because there's no action. They would be the noun. They are courageous as an adjective describing they. This is just an example. This is what I came up with. I had 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. Besides the creative writing, you have a homework assignment that is sentence pattern practice. Mark out prepositional phrases. Mark out prepositional phrases and then label and diagram the first 5. Hopefully there won't be any confusion with diagramming. If so, again, please don't stress out. I just really wanted to introduce you to diagramming. This course is really more focused on being able to identify the different parts of speech and not so much about diagramming, just to give you a little bit of introduction to it. This worksheet is about Alexander the Great. I don't know what you know about Alexander the Great, but another very interesting man from history. Please know that there's 5 different sentence patterns throughout here. So you must look back in your notes in order to help you remember. If it's a linking verb, then if there's no action with it, then you know the word following it is either a noun or an adjective, and it has to rename if it's a noun or describe the subjects if it's an adjective. If it's not those 2 and it's an action verb, it may be that you just have 2 words and it's a noun verb sentence pattern if you've gotten rid of everything else. Don't forget, you may have some helping verbs. And if it's a noun, verb, noun too, just as long as you have all the nouns in the sentence labeled, if there's compound nouns, you have to be careful with that. You'll see those with an and between it. There's a lot of different rules, but when you practice and you really think through it and you look through those notes, it should help you. Please, please contact me if you are struggling, if you're confused, so that I can work with you a little bit more, okay? That does it for this lesson. Again, please let me know if you have any questions. I'm always happy to help you. I want you to really understand this, and I don't want it to be something that you groan about. Sometimes when things are hard, we don't want to do it and we don't like it. And I understand that. I'm the same way. But this, if the more you practice, the easier it gets. It really does. You've taken a kind of a crash course, and so don't be afraid to look in your English workbooks that you have, and where it says look for direct objects. I want you to go through there and label just like we do in this class. Get rid of those prepositional phrases and label, because in my classroom I would use other workbooks and they would have to follow my directions, not so much what the workbook directions were, but the way I wanted them to do it. The more you label, the easier it will get for you. Even though a workbook page may say circle the direct object and that's all you have to do, I don't want you to do it that way. I want you to mark out the prepositional phrases, find the verb, label it, find the subject, label it, and then you can find that direct object. You can still circle it like it says, but you need to actually show how you found it. And since your mother's or whoever is the one usually looking over your work, I think they would probably understand that. Thank you so much for being a part of this lesson. I will see you in lesson 7. Bye-bye.